And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a walk over here to a site that I've been eyeing for a few years, but I've never walked around on it because I believe there's a cellar hole here. So let's check it out. Now, what is that yellow dragonfly doing above my head? Well, that's the Dragonfly Wingman. YouTube is an amazing thing. I did a couple fishing videos where I talked about the dragonfly pattern that we're using, using surface plugs to catch fish on the top of the water in the middle of the summer. And because I'm saying the word dragonfly when I'm titling my videos or my descriptions, all of a sudden I'm getting dragonfly videos popping up on my feed, and one of them was the Dragonfly Wingman. And the Dragonfly Wingman isn't just something to make me look like more of a geek than you might think I look like anyway. The Dragonfly Wingman is designed to protect you from horseflies and deer flies, which can be quite a pain everywhere in midsummer in the forest. So I'm wearing this because last time I was out in the woods, I was getting swarmed, and those things hit and they bite. I mean, you can wear a mosquito repellent. You can wear, there's picaridin, which I've been using lately, and off. And these will keep mosquitoes and black flies away, but they don't do anything for the deer flies and horse flies. But maybe the Dragonfly Wingman will work, and it's been purported to do that. So, let's find out. Anyways, I'm stopping up here to look to see if there's a cellar hole, because I've noticed for years that growing along this little hillock is a bunch of what we call in New England, here's some right here, tiger lilies. You might call those tiger lilies, I don't know, wherever you live. They have the big orange blossom on them in the summer, and they've just gone by because it's early August. But they're also called bay lilies. Holy cow, look what's right behind them. Look at this. That is doll's eye, white baneberry, which is a deadly poison. Kids used to put these doll's eyes, look at how it looks like a doll's eye. They used to put them on their corn husk dolls and play with them. That's what you did back in the old days when you couldn't order doll's eyes from Amazon. Now, we know that they are deadly poison. You eat 2 or 3 of these as a child, it's going to kill you. Every part of the plant. White baneberry. Bane, by the way, bane, Old English for killer. This is a deadly plant that has quite a history because kids took the berries and they made doll's eyes out of them, and the little kids would end up eating them. So know what these are. They're not going to hurt you. They're not like poison ivy. You can touch them, you can roll around on it, it's not going to hurt you. But if you ingest it, it's going to make you sick. And there are a few people out there that are using this in folk remedies, and all the more power to them. But I'm hoping they don't sell me anything because I don't want to eat anything that's got white baneberry in it. Anyways, indicator species. When I see daylilies, tiger lilies, I kind of get a sense there's a cellar hole nearby. Same thing with a sugar maple. There's a trail marker here. There's like an ATV trail that you can see going up onto the power line. And when you see a trail like this, quite often these trails were laid on old logging roads, tote roads, or even old farm roads. So it's possible this is an old farm road. There's an interesting flat rock right here that makes me think that there's a farm road here. And you can see a lot more of these daylilies, which were planted in the 18th and 19th centuries around farms, like we plant around our own homes, right, to provide us with some flowers in the summertime. Other indicators would be lilac bushes. Those are usually a 19th century thing. You'll see them. And, of course, I just said sugar maples. And also stone walls. Now, there's stone walls on the other side of the road. You can see a stone wall on the other side of the road for me right there. And that's an indicator that there's a settlement nearby. And I don't know if there's one. I think there's one over there about 100 yards. So I look in front of me and I'm seeing a flat spot. You see how the ground is flat right here? So we'll walk toward that flat spot, and just what I was thinking. There's a cellar hole. Now, I've never been here before. Oh, look at that. There's some more white baneberry. This is quite a cellar hole. Look at the steps that are leading us down into the cellar, there's another white baneberry. If we walk around on the outside a little bit first, and when you're exploring old cellar holes, be careful, because farmers always had wells, and the wells don't always have caps. And they can be quite deep when you're up in the hills. So look at that cellar hole. Looks like just fieldstone. How long has this home been abandoned here? Look at what we have in it. We've got a couple of maples, a hemlock. There's another maple right here. On the other side, another much bigger hemlock, and there's a birch on the other side of it. If you know your trees, birch tend to be a fast-growing tree, a colonizer species, a pioneer species. So when you see a birch, that's kind of cool. The maples and the hemlocks come after. And hemlocks can be particularly slow-growing. So when I see these hemlocks, they will grow under the canopy. And while they're growing under the canopy, they're waiting for an opening, and they'll sprout up. And look at this slab right here. Interesting. I don't know what that means. I got to go down there. But again, it could be a well cap, so always be careful. From up here, I'm looking and I'm seeing the remains here of the hearth. Now, the cellar hole is dug in New England homes, Northeast homes, because the cellar makes the house warmer in the winter and colder in the summer. It also provides storage for root vegetables and things like that. By the way, the Dragonfly Wingman's working fine. So that cellar hole was part of New England farmhouse architecture for, 300 years. Still is. If you buy a house in New England, you got to put a cellar on it. If you don't, you're a fool. But notice the hearth is set away from the cellar hole. Quite often, the hearth would be built over the cellar hole because the hearth is built on something called a basement. And the basement is a series of stone slabs that lift the hearth up. I guess they figured out that if you're burning on rock all the time, it's going to cause the ground to settle. So you couldn't just put a hearth on top of just a few stones. You had to build it up, and that's the right way to do things. People will do things the right way and the wrong way. And that hearth has long ago fallen. You can even see a brick right here. Look at that brick. So there's another brick. There's probably some bricks in here, and if I look around, I'll probably find maker's marks on some of the bricks. So my friend Dennis can then investigate. He's a brick collector. They do exist. He can investigate where the bricks were made. A maker would put, one of the earliest actual secondary sector jobs here in the New World of the English were brick makers. In Springfield, Massachusetts, the first witch trial in Massachusetts history occurred when Hugh Parsons, a brickmaker, and his wife Mary were accused of witchcraft. You can see right here, by the way, as I'm talking, hoops, barrel hoops. Barrels were used for storage. You could store everything in them, from root vegetables to wheat. You could seal them up tight so that nothing could get in, no rats could get in. The hearth, look at it. So the chimney was here, and it collapsed. And we're looking at a pile of where it once was. But as I move, I can see that the hearth was built right here. This is interesting. There's a depression in the ground right there, and who knows what that is. That could be the old well. Oh, there's another barrel hoop. And look at that hearth was originally made mostly of fieldstone. I bet you only the upper story was brick. Who knows if it was a 1 or 2 story home. So let's get ourselves back around and look at, as I walked, I just walked over some footers, and they're moving from the cellar hole here out like this, showing us the addition where the hearth was located. Little crawl space underneath. So let's go out here and go back down into the cellar hole. and investigate. So I'm going to gingerly step my way down in to the cellar hole. And you can see this is a nice deep cellar. And as I look at it, look at the dry stone. Oh, look at, I thought this was completely dry stone, but you can see a little bit of cement right there, old cement. I'm damaging it. I wonder how much more of that I can find. Well, this would show you that the farmer was probably living here right through the late 19th, beginning of the 20th century, because they used cement to try to shore up the foundation and keep the chipmunks and other vermin out of the cellar. And as I walk, look at how big this thing is. Now that's a birch tree that's dead, and that birch tree, when it died, was about 45, 50 years old. And who knows, it's been dead probably 8, 10 years. And these hemlocks that I'm looking at, that's an ash. These hemlocks in here, they're very slow growing. Like I said, it's hard to say how old they're going to actually be. So look at this. And I don't know what this little area is over here. Ooh, look at Mr. Newt. There he is. Do you see him? He's having fun in this cellar hole. Good old Mr. Newt has got all kinds of bugs to chow down on. But look at this little alcove here. I don't know what it was for. Maybe one of you do, and you can hit me in the comments. Maybe you live in an old home that has one of these little niches, little alcoves. But wow, this thing is 5 feet deep. You can see how well it was constructed. Oh, it's interesting to think. Uh-oh, the Dragonfly Wingman was just stuck in the hemlock over my head. It's interesting to think about how they built these. So looking at how nice and square it is, right? It's really well done. And they had, as early as the 1740s, teams of Irish stonecutters, Scottish stonecutters that were working in New England. There was a lot of money in farming, and they could hire out by that point. And you look, and you know, think about it too. If I'm up in the Berkshires, and the guy who built this was probably the son of one of the river gods down in the valley who had made a lot of money on tobacco. So the father probably wanted to help him out. I'm just speculating, but this is really a well-done cellar hole. Still surviving. Talk about a test of time. You could probably build a house over this thing today if you wanted to. All right, I'm leaving the cellar. Let's investigate the rest of the property. And moving back out toward where the crawl space was. And I'll walk right across it. New England farmhouses were often a series of additions, interconnected, and we can see evidence of that right here. Look, the hearth comes out. There's a footers come out like this to that tree there, and then they come back across over here. And there's an interesting stone that I'm looking at over there. It almost looks like cement. Let me go look at it. Yeah, this is, no, it's not. It's a piece of limestone. How they got that up there? Oh, there's some more of that white baneberry. We're in a veritable grove of white baneberry. Look at the ash tree right there. Look at this below me. This is all powdered brick, showing us where there had been another fireplace. Look at that brick right there. Look at this. So this was another hearth right here. So there were 2 chimneys at least on this house. These people were serious about staying warm. They didn't cut down that ash tree though. They left that ash tree for shade for them and their livestock most likely. I'll bet you were looking at some merino sheep barrens up here that made some, look at the old bed frames right here. And you can see the footers come out like this. Got another one here. And they extend. It looks like they extend. Oh, look at them over there. So we're looking at a farmhouse that was sprawling. Cellar holes over here. First main hearth. second heart, and now it sprawls out, it meanders, and look at all of this. We got, looks like some springs from a piece of farm equipment, piece of an old stove, more farm equipment here. Holy cow. This is something else. And right here, out it goes. The footer continues out, and then back over there, and you can actually see the outline of the home right here. And then down below that, there's another one. So this is really a good-sized property. I can't imagine what. I wonder if I can find any pictures of this. Probably not. And we can even see more right here. Look right here. We have a piece of a wood stove. Could have been a Franklin stove. Another barrel hoop. This cellar hole is outstanding. This is a real nice find. And right here, more barrel hoops. Somebody was out here with a metal detector. They come out with metal detectors and the barrel hoops beep, and they immediately dig them up and they stack them. And wow. Students, look at, you can really see the line of the addition here. It goes over here and then back over there and sprawls all the way over. And from here to the cellar hole, we're talking about 100 feet. This was a sprawling property, and I wonder where the barn would have been. I'm looking up here, and I see another flat spot, and I wonder if the barn would have been up here. Now, the old Yankee really enjoyed having the porch well. Yeah, this looks like something here. The way the ground's disturbed. And it looks like, right over here, we can see got some cherries and some ash and some white pine growing. And we can see what I feel like was an old cart road right here. There's a big old sugar maple right there. I'm looking, I see some big white pines back there, a lot of cherry. Another big white pine. But think about this. This was farmland. But this is something else. And look at, I got another, as I just stumbled over here, I've got another foundation coming like this and over. And over there, look, this has got to be the barn right here. Right over here, we can see a piece of a, what would that be, a mower of some sort, of mechanical thresher, and the door to the old stove. So somebody was metal detecting out here and had a little bit of fun. They found some iron and they left it right here. Very cool. Now, I'm glad I stopped with you guys. And so we're like walking around in the remains of somebody's life. You can go to the property deeds and you can find out in the community who owned this property. There's a cherry with a big monstrous burl on it. And we can see the stone wall. Every property's got a stone wall. And I'm walking around. I'm thinking about wells. Believe me, I don't want to fall in a well. I have almost fallen in a well before. So look at the Dragonfly Wingman protecting me from the attack of horseflies and deer flies. Anyways, it was a lot of fun bringing you guys for a walk today. It was kind of an unexpected thing. I just was driving up the road and I said, there's more stone walls right there. I said, we got to get out and check out what I think is an old cellar hole. And it proved to be a profitable experience. Now remember, I just make these videos like I did this one. Sometimes I plan it a little bit, but in this case, it was spontaneous. Put your notification bell on. Remember to like. I'm doing this for free, but liking it gets the message out, and it's good for my ego to think that other people are checking out my vids. And I've been teaching and lecturing and doing my thing involving history. And look at that mushroom. Holy cow. Don't ever eat the brown mushrooms. Little brown mushrooms. Stay away. But I've been doing my thing for a long time. And I decided to get into the world of the YouTube because I saw people doing it. And I said, I can do that. I can make a good channel. So I hope you enjoy my channel. And I hope you're learning a few things and getting out in the woods near you and exploring. And if you're looking for a cellar hole, remember, look for sugar maples, look for stone walls, a flat spot, tiger lilies or daylilies, lilacs, and another one that we didn't see in here, but I'll bet you there's some around there somewhere, would be apple trees. New England farmers loved apples. They planted them everywhere. And thanks for watching. Just turning off the camera, I took a look down here, and I'm looking at a plant that killed more than 100,000 Americans between colonization period, 17th century, and the beginning of the 20th century. That plant killed Lincoln's mother. It's terribly toxic. Europeans had no experience with it. It's native to North America, and their livestock ate it, causing the milk sickness.